Okay, so welcome to this chapter 4 session. So, the chapter 4 is all about the project integration management. So, we'll be discussing about these are the agenda for today's session. So, why the management integration is important for the project management perspective. Develop project charter is one of the process. Develop project management plan. Direct and manage project work. Monitor and control project work, so perform integrated change control and close project. So these are the basically, the different, the processes which are related to the this integration project management. So this is a part of that. So we'll go to the one by one. What is a project charter? What is the project management plan? So okay. Before that, I would like to show you that this develop project charter, project management plan. From where this, from which process group it basically belongs. So if you see this, PMBOK guide, if you go to the PMBOK guide and here, okay, so if you see this, session, in that case, the same thing. I'm talking about this develop project charter. It is a part of integration, project integration management, but it belongs to the initiating process group. So if you see this, we have a 5 process group. Throughout this PMBOK guide, throughout this PMP certification, we have a 5 process group, and those are initiating process group, planning process group, and executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing. So, but we have a 10 knowledge areas. So these 10 knowledge areas are there. That is the project integration management, project scope management, project time, cost, quality management. Then we have a resource, communication, risk, and the procurement stakeholder. So we have a 10 knowledge area which are, and these processes are basically which belong from the knowledge area. They are grouped into the 5 process group. Okay. So if you see this develop project charter, which is a part of integration management knowledge area, but they group it into the initiating process group. So they belong from the initiation process. So when the project will going to start it, so what process, the first activity that needs to be started, that is a develop project charter. And there's one more process that is a part of the initiating process group, that is a identify stakeholders. So these are the 2 processes which basically, part of the initiating process group. Now, if you see this develop project management plan, it is a part of the integration management plan, but also it is a part of the planning process group. It means that when you are this project management plan, basically you will be planning the activities. You will be taking care of the different planning, the project planning in terms of like a scope, in terms of time, cost, human resource, stakeholder. So you will be basically doing the planning for each and every knowledge area. So if you see the scope management, there is one of them is a plan scope management. So project time management, you will have a plan schedule management. Project cost management, you will have a plan cost management. So if you see this in most of this, knowledge area, you will have a planning something. So the first thing that we will be going to do is planning the particular activities. Now, so this project management plan is basically part of the integration management, and it is a part of the planning process group. Now, if you see this executing process group, so executing process group, in that case, direct and managed project work. So this is one of the process which belong to the project integration management, and they are part of the executing process group. Monitoring control, you will have a 2 process. That is one of the monitoring control, another is the perform integrated change control. So these are basically part of integration management. So overall, if you see this project integration management, you have all the processes. You have at least one process which belongs to the, each and every process group. See, develop project charter, initiating, planning, you have this thing, executing, you have one process, monitoring, controlling process group, you have a 2, and closing, you have a 1. So integration management is one of the important topic in terms of, because you'll have the process in each and every process group. But if you see the scope management, here initiating process group, you don't have anything. There's no process. which is related to the scope management knowledge area. So we don't have any process which is a part of the scope management and belong to the initiating process group. Planning has it, but executing and closing don't have it. So if you see this whole table, this diagram, so if you see this, this project time management and same thing, every knowledge area except integration management, you'll not find any, the knowledge area where you'll have a, process in each and every process group. So the integration management, in that case, if you see this all the 5 processes, or we have actually 6 processes, and these 6 processes are distributed into these 5 process groups. So this is a very important factor in terms of project integration management. Okay. So now, why we have to manage the integration? What is your need of this, in the project? Why you have to go for integration? So integration of a subsidiary project management plan, as I was explaining you, like a output of other knowledge area like a scope management, time management, cost management, quality management. So everywhere you will have a this planning. You will be doing the planning. Like in the time management, you will do the plan schedule management. Cost management, you will be doing the plan cost management, plan quality management. So what is this project management plan? Project management plan is integration from all the project management plan which is coming, which is all the plan management, the processes, whatever the output is coming from the cost management, whatever the output is coming from the quality management, basically you are going to integrate it, and that will become a project management plan. So I'll show you in the, whenever we'll come to the develop project management plan, then I will show you how these, the output from these knowledge areas will make you, and just you're going to create a project management plan. To combine, unify, and coordinate the various processes and project management activities. So in this case, like in the project, you will be doing a lot of activities. So in this case, you need to combine all these planning part and just unify and coordinate in such a way that according to the project management activities. So this is the most important part. Like this is the first process from the project integration management, and where we'll basically going to cover, what is the official document to start the project. So in this case, I was earlier also telling you the project charter is basically it officially authorizes a project. So the first thing, the first document, first thing that will going to be prepared in the project is basically project charter. So to create a document that formally authorizes a project. So we'll see what are the elements will be there for a project charter. So for creating a project charter, you need these things. These are the basically input. These are tools and techniques. These are an output. So for an input, you will have a project statement of work. So we'll show you one of this diagram. Just one. Okay. Now, if you see this is how your normally the project charter displays. And when you're creating any project charter, this is just a sample format. That's what I'm trying to show you. And the project name is like integrity of a cost data with a IT project. This is basically the project name, and who will be the project sponsor. You are going to mention it, like Chief Information Officer. Then you will have a project management office, that is the PMO, and who is the project manager. What is the details will be there, from which organization it belongs, what is the expected start date, what is the completion start date, expected completion date, and then you're going to mention all the detail here. You're going to mention that describe the problem, goals, and objective of this project. Because project charter, when you give it to somebody, they should basically understand, whether particular this problem, you're going to mention that what is the current problem that you are facing it, and what are the solutions that you are expecting from the project that can solve this existing problem. So you're going to basically you're going to mention the problem part. You're going to mention the purpose of the project. You're going to mention the business case for that. What are the goals are there, and you're going to mention the expected deliverable. So these are the basic key things that you are going to mention it, in your project charter, and define the project scope, what will be within your scope, what will be the outside of your scope, and what will be the tentative schedule, like when you wanted to complete it. So these are the things that you are going to mention it, like finalize a project plan or charter. This needs to be completed on this date, and define a phase, measurement phase, analysis phase. So these are the milestones that you are going to mention it. Define project resources, who can be your resources in this project, like the project support resources and the development team. So you're going to mention all those things. Sometimes you're going to mention their rate also. That will also tell you what will your budget, so that will help you to calculate the total cost of this project, and who will be the process owner, who will be the person to whom you're going to contact them to get the information. Key stakeholder you need to mention here. Final customer at the end, the expected benefit of that, after the project is done, what is the expected benefit of that. Then you'll have a risk, constraint, and assumption, so that you need to mention this as part of the project charter. And then you need to mention. So it's basically, the project charter consists of more than less. This is a sample template that I'm trying to show you. But companies, they can remove some of the items. They keep it, they want to keep the same thing. But I'm trying to say is this is a sample template, and to get a project approved, you should have at least all this information, so that when you give it to your business sponsor, so they can see that, okay, what is the issue? Because here you're going to mention what is the problem and that the business is facing, and this after the project is done, so that problem will get resolved. At what extent, what benefit they will get it. So the problem you're going to mention it. Then you are going to mention it. What is your expected deliverable after? What are the deliverables that you are going to mention it. So these are the things will going to help you to determine the expected output. These are things that will going to help you to, then you are going to mention, the different phases. That is, you are going to mention the tentative timeline. So this will going to help you to mention that, okay, this is start date and this is the end date. So the business sponsor at least have an idea that project should be going to start on this date, and this will get completed on this day. So there are some tentative ideas on that, and if you have some idea about the project aim, that you can mention it. And cost wise, they will get some ideas on what will be the final cost will be that, what will the benefit will be there. So if you have all this information, for a business sponsor, it will be easy to approve and reject it. So this is what is the project charter is really important from the project management perspective, and this is the first document. And when it is been prepared and when it is been approved, means project is authorized to start it. That is the time the project is authorized to start it. So that's why let's come to the slide now. So this is one of the first process of this integration project management, and that's the develop project charter, to create a document that formally authorizes a project. So what are the input will be there? That's the project statement of work, business case, agreements, enterprise environmental factors, organization process assets. So I will come to that. Basically, what is the project statement of work? We're going to explain you what is the what will be the business case and agreement. So when you're developing a project charter, as maybe if you are have a new project and you want to outsource to some other vendor, so then we'll have some agreement, like this will be the the resources that they are going to supply, and this will be the cost will be there, and this is some information that will going to basically baseline the project. And you need a business case, because to start a project you should have some the business requirement for developing a project charter. So when you have this the business case, then this will help you to develop a project charter. Project statement of work is like a SOW. So in this case, what are the information will be there, that will be going to cover in the next slide. But one of the two things which will going to keep on coming in each and every process, most of the process, that's the enterprise environmental factors and organization process assets. So what is the enterprise environment factor? For example, if you're starting any project, construction project, and if you see this, you're trying to build one hub mall in one of the new town, and now the thing is that you need a lot of approval from the government, some regulatory, So that is your enterprise environmental factor. The reason is that if you started some of the activities and and it is dependent on the some of the external factor, like government comes to the some laws and something comes and then they can come to that, okay, now you have to change your plan. So now when you are developing your project charter, so when you're developing when you're planning a new project, so you need to keep in your mind what are the external factors that can affect your project. Like if you are building a construction project, so you'll be keep in your mind that what are things that external factor can affect the project apart from the organization, material, resources, all those, but external factor. For example, a regulatory part, like a government regulatory part that can affect your project. Anything new changes in the laws that can affect your project. Or so that is on a approval side. On environmental side also some issues come, so that can also affect it. So it's basically which is outside a organization, so and that can affect the project, it become enterprise environmental factor. So whenever, and these are the process which keep on coming in most of the these are the basically input, I can say, which most of the it will be coming in most of the process. Organization process asset is like because if you see the big organization or small organization, you'll have like they have some repository, right? They have some knowledge, some database, some template will be there, like they will have some project document template, some how to note down the risk part and how to calculate a different stuff. So they have existing repository. So when you're planning any project, so you should keep in mind that, okay, if you have this organization process asset, these document, if you have it or some information which is related to the similar type of project, then your project duration, project cost will be less. So what I'm trying to say, this enterprise environmental factor and organizational process they can also affect the project in terms of it can reduce the cost and it can reduce your manpower if you have already existing organization the process asset document or related to the project, similar type of project. So when you talk about the organization processes, it is something like some document, some repository, some database, the organization habit for managing the different projects basically. So you'll have a tools and technique. So when you're developing a project charter, you'll be basically having an expert judgment, and you'll be using you do the facilitation technique. In this case, like 10 or 20 people are there, just discuss with them, try to take their views and try to see what things can be done, what things can't be done. So it's a project charter is not something like a you need some help to understand, okay, when you start, this is a project scope is there, because when you'll get a business case, you understand this is a project requirement is that now you want to calculate what will be the deliverables, when you can complete it, and what kind of resources will be required, and from where those resources can come in, what you can consider as in scope, what you want to consider as out of scope. So these are the things that you need some information from the expert guys or some team members. So that's why these tools and technique will be there. These are the things that you can apply on these inputs to get a project charter. So basically, the project charter is nothing but when you at this end, after this develop project charter, this is one of the process. Okay. So this process will give you the project charter as an output. Okay. So now, just 1 second. Okay. So now, hey Uday, are you there?
Yeah.
Perfect. If any doubt is there, you can ask me at any point of time, okay?
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect, great. Now, so what I'm trying to say that, okay. Now, if you see this, a develop project charter, so what are the things that you need? project charters are created so that the project can answer the satisfy one of the following conditions. So if you remember that, have covered this thing, why the project can come in the picture. So what are the things just because of the project can come in the picture? Maybe just because of the market demand, you will be basically you'll have a new project. We have taken like a family size car, right? So in that case, this is a new demand. So the company started thinking about, they just launch a new car, just take care of the, this requirement, that particular area. Business need is basically in this case, any organization who are basically, they are right now e-commerce, right? You can book anything through the, website. Now they want to launch a different app through the Android app or iPhone app. So this is a new business requirement. Business need is there. So in that case, the project can come in the picture. Customer request, any specific customer, they wanted the new thing needs to be done according to their requirement. This car racing company, somebody can they can request it from the car manufacturing company that, okay, I need such type of a car. These are the model. These are the things will be there. So the company who produces a car, they can think about it. They can make the car according to this particular customer. So technological advances previously they used to be something on a hardware side or maybe software side. As per the market trends, things started improving it. So you're going to work on the project which works on the technological advances. Legal requirement, if you have a government rules and regulations are there, so new regulation comes, so you can have a new projects in that area. Social need, or if based on the social requirement in terms of if you want to launch provide a free internet service to the rural area, so this is like a social activities you want to do it, and this is a new project basically. And when you're trying to fulfill this new project, will be basically developing a project charter in that case. So these are the things which I have already covered you. So these are the areas where the new project can come in the picture, and new project, whenever the new project comes, you're going to work on. That's the first thing, that is a develop project charter, where you will going to making the project charter for that. So in the develop project charter, there is two inputs for that. There is one of the project statement of work, that is a SOW. And SOW is if you see this any companies, so they give the statement of work. They specify what in the statement of work is these are the basically information should be there in the statement of work, like a business need, product scope description, and strategic plan. So the statement of work, that's the SOW, it is a narrative description of product or services to be delivered by the project. So every SOW should include it. So it's a narrative description of product or services to be delivered by the project. So you're going to mention in the SOW, that these are the things, this is a business requirement, this is a business need is there, and this is a product scope description. You're going to specify the scope of that, what are things that part of the scope, what is the out of scope, you're going to mention this, and what is a strategic plan for that. When the start date, what is the end date, what will be the cost will be there. So you're going to specify only that much information in the project statement of work. And normally sometime big organization, they give it to some consulting company. So I'm talking about IT organization, or maybe any company, manufacturing company, they want to build a new factory, so they can outsource that work to some other company. So they will have this project statement of work. So they will going to provide it. Okay, this is my business here, this is scope description, and this is my plan is there. So, and what will be there, how you're going to align with that. So this is something as part of the project statement of work. And these are the input of this project charter. So there's a second process, that is a part of the project integration management. There's a develop project management plan. So here you'll basically, making the plan, project management plan, and this project management plan consists of output from the plan scope management. Like plan scope management is one of the process. So I will show you this. If you just see the document. Plan scope management is one of this the process which belongs to the project scope management. Plan schedule management, which is again one of the process belongs from the time management. So what this process is going to give you, this plan schedule management will going to give you the schedule, what is the time required to complete the project. Plan scope management will going to give you the what is the scope of the final scope of the project. Okay. Plan cost management is going to give you the cost of the project. Quality management, human resource. So if you see this in all the knowledge area, you will have one plan process, So project management plan is nothing but the integration of whatever things coming from all these process. Okay. So the project management plan is basically integration of all the output from all these knowledge areas. So, to define, prepare, and coordinate all the subsidiary plans. So, which I've shown you, like a plan schedule management, plan cost management. These are called as subsidiary plans, okay? And integrate them into the comprehensive project management plan. So, this is what you're going to do in the project management plan. And it defines the basis for all the project work. So, whatever you're going to do in the project, this is going to mention in the project management plan. That's a very important thing. If you know, for the first thing that you have done, first process, that is a develop project, are very important because without that you can't start the project. Now the second thing is really important because based on this plan, all the activities will going to be done in the project. Okay. So what is the input of this? If you see this, if I'm making a plan, I should have a project charter, right? Project charter, I've shown you, right? In the project charter, you will have at least all this information. So when you're making this plan, if you have all this information, like I should have aware about what is the problem, what is the expected deliverable in terms of within scope or out of scope. So plan scope management will take care of all those things. Sorry. So when you're making a project management plan, if you have a project charter, then it will give you the very clear idea, okay, what are the things that you want to do in the project. Okay, so project charter, if you know that this project charter have almost all this information. So when you have all this information, it's very easy to plan your project, right? Because here you can at least that, okay, this is your start date or this is a complete date, what is the scope in and out, what will be the theme, what will be the rough idea. So what will the cost will be there, and who will be your key stakeholder? What is the final output that you are expecting it? Okay, and what are the different risks are there? What are the assumptions that you can have it? So if you have this project charter is one of the input, and when you apply this expert judgment and facilitator technique, and then you will have a project management plan. So you have a project charter and output from other process. This input that I'm talking about it is basically, I'm talking about these output. I'm talking about these outputs. These are the plan scope management, plan schedule management. So this is the output from other process. That is the output from the plan scope management. You will have a scope plan. Plan schedule management, you have a final time, what will the project timeline will be there. Cost management, same thing. It's a cost part. Okay. Again, you have enterprise environment factor and organization because these are the input. If you see the most of the the processes will have it because when you're making a project management plan, any external factor also affects the project, right? Any government regulation, any environmental regulation, anything comes in the picture, and that can affect your project management plan. That can affect the whole plan also. So you need to consider it. You need to consider when you're making a plan. You have to consider all those things. Okay. You need to consider organization factor, like within your organization, what are the factors are there when you're making a plan, okay? Hierarchy perspective, or all those things you need to take care of it. When you apply this expert judgment or facilitator taking, basically you're going to discuss with the team and you're going to discuss in the group and then you just do the facilitation part and then you'll basically, at the end you'll get a project management plan. So it is very easy. You don't have to basically, stress a lot to understand this project charter and project management plan. Because if you see this, you can easily recall that what are the information that you need for the project management plan. Okay, so in between, if you have any doubt, you can ask me. Okay. So the third thing, that is it's a Deming cycle and PM process. So in the project management, we have this in the examination they ask you what is a Deming cycle. They ask you one question is going to come based on this Deming cycle and PM process. So the Deming cycle is nothing but plan, do, check, and activate. It is called a PDCA. Very simple. Plan, do, check, and act. It's called a Deming cycle. Plan. So anything you want to do in the project, right? So you'll definitely do the planning part. Okay. Then you do the implemented, and then you will see whether you have done it successfully. You're going to check it, and then you'll act it. So here, if you see this, the iterative 4-step management method used in business for control and continuous improvement of the process and product. So in this case, if you have any process in existing process, or if you have any new product you want to see you want to do the development in the particular on a product, so you're going to apply all these things. Like you're going to do the planning, do the check. You're going to do it. You'll check it whether it's performing well or not, and if it is good, then act it. Otherwise, just change it. You understand? So it is like a more if you see in agile, I'm talking about agile. If you see iterative type, right? Agile is also iterative type. So in that case, you have some set of this. Just implement and see how it is perform it, and then again, if it does not perform, you want to change something, you can just change it again. Follow this process. This is called as a PDCA. It's an iterative 4-step management method used in business for control and continuous improvement of the process and product. If you want to do any continuous improvement of any process there, and you want to see, you want to apply new process, just take a plan it, do this, check and act it. If it works according to your requirement, that's good. Otherwise, just go and change it again, plan it. So it is just a process wise as well as from product wise. Same thing like this thing example you can consider like a SpaceX shuttle. They're trying to launch this rocket booster. Okay, so they want to reuse the rocket booster. Now in the first iteration they got failed. So what happened? They again plan it. So on the second iteration again they failed it. So again they plan it. They see what are the issues was happen. Again they change the process. Now the third time. So I think after 3-4 attempts. So on the 5th attempt they are successful. It's just because it's a big project. They don't know what are the unknowns are there. So following this Deming cycle will help you to improve your processes, improve your products basically. Okay, so there's a third process of this integration management knowledge area. That's a direct and managed project work. When I talk about the direct and managed project work, it is a part of the executing. Okay, so when I talk about the executing part, you will be actually doing the activity. Because in the first part you have developed a charter. Now second process you develop project management plan. Now you are going to work according to the project management plan, and this is a process where the action will be there, where actual execution part will be there. So here it is basically to lead and perform the work defined in the project management plan. So you will going to basically do some activities in this according to the project management plan to lead and perform the change work. So these are the activities that we are going to do it in this process. So what are the things that you need? It simple. You need a project management plan. Why? Because you will be working according to the project management plan, right? If I'm going to do some activities, and I have a plan is ready. Now my next activity, what I want to do it, I have to see in the project management plan, right? What are the things that I need to do it? So my first input, I should have a project management plan. And you see the pattern, normally in the most of the process, if you see this output of the, the previous, see the project charter, output of this developed project charter is become input of next process. Can you see this? And output of this project management plan become a input of a next process. But this is not every time, but if you'll see this pattern, you're going to see that, okay, most of the time output of the previous the process become input to the the next process. So you're going to see that. Okay, so you'll have a project management plan, because see, the logical perspective, you need a plan, because if I want to work on anything, if I don't have a plan, I can't work it. So this is one thing, project management plan. You require approved change request. Why you needed this? Basically, during the execution phase, right? You'll be coming with the new requirement. So in that case, if that is approved, then you can work it. Otherwise, you can't do it. You will not able to work on it. So that's why this is one more input, which is a part of this direct and managed project work. That's the approved change request. Then you have an enterprise environmental factors and organizational process assets. So as I mentioned earlier, these are the things that these are the two things that can basically be there most of the your process. And if you see this the concept wise, yes, when you're working on a project, like you started building a new town, okay, or a new hub mall. So you're in the execution phase. So anything can affect right to a project, like a new regulation comes, which you have not planned in your project management plan, but something come in between. Okay, so that can affect your execution part. Maybe stay can come, or maybe then you need to change your plan according to that. So that's what direct management project. This is also one of the input that you need to consider it. You keep on looking into these factors. You need to have organizational processes. So when you are in the execution phase, suppose you're trying to build a similar type of website or similar type of requirement for any client, okay, which you have already done it. If you have the same document, you will try to, what you're going to do it, you will try to look for any previous project who have done something similar to that. If you try to use it, your execution will be easy, faster. Okay, so that is the standard. This is the process normally every organization trying to do it. Whatever the project they have done, they documented so that as in the part of the repository, so that any future project they can get a help from that. So the organization process is a part of that. So any project which is in execution, if they stuck or they need some information, if some existing any previous project similar type of that they have it, they try to use it basically. What are the tools and techniques that you are basically going to apply? One is expert judgment and the project management information system and meeting. So basically, in this case, when you're planning your direct and management project, so you'll be discussing with the team, and expert judgment, expert opinion will be needed. And during this execution part, you will be using a project management information system, like some software. You're going to use it to manage the whole part, the whole execution part. The reason is, if you don't have any software or any information system, it's a very difficult to track what work has been done. So it's basically, during execution phase, you definitely need it, on a larger scale, you definitely need it. For small projects, where you can manage with the small tools are available like Excel or some other thing, but on a big scale, you may need some software which can help you to manage your execution of project. You'll be having a lot of meetings with the team members and stakeholders, so just during the execution part. So what will be the output of this direct and managed project work? So that will be deliverables. Then when you are the execution part, at the end you'll get some output, right? Some deliverable, and then this will go in part of the monitoring and controlling or control process. So that will be going through. But you have some deliverable, okay, which will basically you can test it. And deliverable is called as a work performance data. Anything which is as a output of execution has become a work performance data, which I have shown you earlier, okay, one of the logical sequence diagram. I will show you this one also, this time also. So the deliverables is always become a work performance data. You can have a change request, right? When you are executing the particular task, you realize that you want to change something needs to be changed, and which was not there. So you can request a new change. You can submit change request for that. You can update a project management plan, because if you thought about any changing request and which was you did not thought about, okay, this can be there, you can update your project management plan. You will going to, and this project management plan is one of the activities. That's the updation of project management plan is one of the activities that you keep on doing it regularly. It is not something like you once you made it a project management one plan, you're not going to change it. Means you keep on checking what needs to be done, what can be done, but make sure that your scope, time, and cost, it should be like these things you need to balance it. But other thing that you need to, like some of the risk item, okay, which you have not thought about it, but when you started the project or maybe you are in execution phase, you will come to that, okay, this risk we did not think about it, now it is there, okay. So you can note down, you can update it as a part of the plan, and you can present it, okay, how you can mitigate those risks, or maybe you can avoid a risk, or you can accept a risk. So those things will going to come to the risk management. We're going to discuss about it. What are the different ways of handling a risk, basically. Project document update. Yes, you will be updating your document there. So these are the output of a direct managed project work. So you'll have these input. What are the input if you're doing it for execution, for direct and managed project work? You need a plan, because you need to work according to you need a change request, approved change request, which has been approved, because that is where you're going to work on it. You have enterprise involvement factor, organization process. So you will be applying these tools and technique, and you will get these output. Deliverable is nothing but a work performance data. Change request, because after when you work on it, you will get something which you want to change it. So it will become change request. You will be updating a project management plan. You will be updating a project document. So these will become your output of that. Okay, so again, I will take this logical flow of the project, normally how it works, which I have already covered it, So at the starting of the project, you will have a develop project charter. This is our first process. This is the first process where things will going to start it, okay. So then develop PM plan, that's the project management plan, which is basically, and if you see this, I'm just going to, ask you, that, okay, this develop project charter is a part of which process group? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, can you tell me develop project charter is a part of which process group? From which process group it belongs?
Yeah, initiation.
What about the develop PM plan? Project management plan?
That is the planning.
Okay, and direct and managed project work?
That we have to execute in the execution part.
Mm-hmm. What about this control scope, control schedule, and all those things?
That we have to in the monitoring and control part.
Controlling, perfect, great. So monitor and control again is the same thing, monitoring and controlling. And close project is a?
Closing.
Closing, perfect, that's awesome. So these are when this is basically process, and this process belongs to this process group. Okay, so let's come to the topic. So the project charter, you'll have it, and this project management plan, and then you'll have a direct management project work, because when you have a plan, now you are in the process of execution phase. So you'll be working on a direct and managed project work. So here, if you see this, it will give an output, and this will become work performance data. Deliverable is nothing but your work performance data. Okay, how much days you have taken to complete one phase, for particular task. So, or what is the number of days? What is the you implemented, how much you have implemented it. Okay, so these things basically that will become your deliverable. Then when it goes to the different control mechanism will going to verify that, okay, whether how what has been done it on the what has been agreed, like if you see the control scope. So on a scope part, what has been accepted, okay, this needs to be done it, and how much you have done it. So just do the check it, and see whether you are taking care of all the activities which is being mentioned in the scope. You are following the schedule, you are following the cost, means the development of the particular activity should not go beyond the cost. So because when you're making a project management plan, you're going to divide each and every activities, you're going to divide into such a way that, okay, this activity the duration will be there, and this is the cost we're going to involve it in that roughly. Okay, you'll get that. You're going to check the quality of the particular deliverable, okay, because how how good and bad. So you're going to check the communication risk and same thing. It's all about. So whenever the deliverables and work performance data, when these become input to the control mechanism, it will give you the work performance information. That is a WPI. Just remember it. WPI is the output of output from the control. The control scope. Control scope is a control processor, and the control processor, when they take an input, that's the deliverable. When the deliverables and the work performance data, they pass it to the control processor, it will give you the work performance information. So work performance information is nothing but your status information, something, some sort of that, like here my scope was this needs to be done, but that has not been completed. You can say that, okay, only 90% is completed, or timing, or this is 10% budget has been utilized. So this is your become work performance information. When it passes from the monitor and control project work, control project work, now you are going to see this, okay, in terms of whole project. Here you are going to see in terms of the particular task or something, but here you will going to see on a whole project basis. Now, if you give this information, you are going to monitor in terms of project work. Okay, now this thing we took, for example, last time I have given you something, we decided to implement some plinth part. Okay, you wanted to you're building a mall in the particular town, so in that case you started a plinth part construction. Okay, so you decided that it should take 2 months. Now it took 2.5 months. Okay, so it's basically 15 days delay. So in that case, when it so 15 days will become your, this basically, if you can say that, okay, work is delayed by the 15 days. So you can see this maybe 30% or 20% work is got delayed. So, and then you can control, it will go through the monitor and control project, you can forecast it, you can think about, okay, if the way it will go, whether my project will complete on time, or how much time it will get delayed, or what will the cost get, extra cost will get added. So, and then you are going to recommend it, what are the action that you would want to take it to be in the, within the budget. So monitor and control project was basically you are going to monitor the activities, and then you recommend it if something goes wrong, okay, or you need some improvement. So that will become your work performance report, okay, work performance report. So, and then at the end, if everything, all the project is completed, every task is completed as per the schedule or as per the scope, then your project is completed, and then you're going to just everything go into the close project. So you're going to start the closing of the project activity. So otherwise, here this process keep on repeating it. You keep on repeating the activity. Like here you're going to get a recommendation. You'll go again this. You want to change some plan, just change it. Direct manage project while execute it again. So you keep on executing it. Okay. So there's one of the process which is this is the fourth process, and monitor control project work, which I was showing you in this previous slide. It is basically used to track, review, and report the progress. You're going to track it, you're going to review it, and you're going to see the progress of your development. Okay. What the input you need it? Yes, you need a project management plan, because on which basis you are going to validate it, right? You should have a plan, and then you are going to track it and review it, right? So you should have a project management plan. Then you should have a schedule forecast. Forecast means in terms of, okay, this project was delayed for 15 days. I was taking an earlier example. So now you can forecast it, okay, how much time it will take it, to complete the project, or what action you want to, implement it so that you are going to complete on a time. You can schedule a forecast, you can cost forecast will be there, validate changes are there. So these are the things that become your input of your monitor and control project work, okay. Work performance information, which I have earlier shown you, this work performance information is become input to the monitor and control project work, okay. Then as earlier I have told you, enterprise environment factors and organization process, these are the two processes which normally you'll get in most of the processes, okay. So Very simple. Any external factor that can affect your monitor and control project activities, but you need to consider it. Organization process document, any process there that you need to consider it as part of the monitor and control project work. So what are the tools and techniques that you're going to apply? You're going to apply the expert judgment, you're going to apply the analytical technique, and project management information system and meeting. So in this case, like when you're doing a monitoring part, you'll discuss with your expert, or maybe you need some help, okay, whether this activity has been you going as per the standard or what was there. You'll be using analytical technique like analyze the information, whatever the information, like a schedule forecast you have a project management plan, you have a cost for, so you have all this information. You can analyze those. So you'll be using a different analytical technique, different. Maybe you can use some software also, like which is a part of the project management information system. So you can use a different analytical technique to monitor the, see your project activities also. You can use a meeting. You can sit with the in the conference room or just discuss with the, okay, what are the things will for review purpose, because you will be doing it, right, when you do the project. Now the output will be the change request. So now what can be the output of monitor and control project? Because when you're monitoring it, you're going to say, yeah, it is completed, or you want to change it. Only two things will be there, right? Yeah, yes or no. So if it is no, what needs to be done? What changes needs to be done? Like you can have a change request. Yes, if everything is good, just close the activity. If no, then what change request will be there? You have something that you want to change it, right? So you have a change request. You'll have work performance report, which I have already shown you in this area. Output of this monitor control project with work performance report. Then you have a project management plan updates. You'll be definitely updating a plan, because as I told you, let's take example, if you're changing something, right? Like you will up some output and it is not updated. So it will go to the project management plan. You'll be updating your plan, and then you'll again go and execute it. Because you thought to do it in such a way, but nothing done it, or some changes you want to do it, you just update the plan and just execute it. Okay. So you'll updating your project management plan. You'll be updating your project document also. New things you want to remove it, avoid it. So as per the monitoring and control project work, so you'll be doing it in this project document. Okay. So these are the different become an output of this process. So you'll have this input, you have this. You're going to apply different tools and technique on these input, and then you will get this output. Okay. So there's one of the process, that's part of this integration management knowledge area, which is a perform integrated change control. This is a very important topic in terms of you'll get at least one or two questions based on this topic. And in this case, this process is all about controlling your changes, because if you're doing a project, and you will come to, most of the time, the business guys will come to the new requirement, and maybe they want to change existing things. So to take care of all those changes, you can't just accept it. It goes through some process. So this perform integrated change control is that process where you want to, where you want your changes should go through it. So it's basically to control those changes. So what are the things will be there? Now your execution phase, now you realize that, okay, something business guys or they want to do some changes, or they want to add it or subtract it, or they want to do the new enhancement in that. Then you're going to implement this, you're going to use this perform integrated change control process to take care of the changes. So what are the activities that you are going to do it on the changes that guys are expected, So what can be the output of this integrated change control? You will have a project management plan, right? And you have a change request. See, this is the input. Because something you want to, you want something to be needs to be done. So you want to see whether these changes can be accepted or can be rejected. So you'll have a change request. Somebody asks you, okay, I wanted to do this thing, this activity, the X and Y didn't need to be changed to the something ABCD, okay, something, okay. And then you should have a project management plan, because I have to validate it, right? What was the scope, whether it is a part of the scope or it is out of the scope. So when you have that plan, then whether it will going to affect your schedule or not. or work performance report, because work performance report will become, after the monitor and control work. So if you see this, output of monitor control work, there's a work performance report and change request. Okay, if you see this one, change request, work performance report, so these are basically become input here. Okay, so you have all those things, and you have enterprise environment factor and organization process. So you have some work performance report like a status report, any recommendation that there you want to do it, like you thought it okay to your project was delayed for like 15 days. Now you want to do it on time, right? Now you have to change something. You have to change your plan. So you have to now to change it, to change the activity, to change the particular thing. Now it should go for integrated change control. You'll have to check each and every activities that will get impacted due to this change. So that's why this activity is important. So you can have a work performance report, one of the inputs. You'll have one of the report like a change request. You need some project management plan to validate it. So this input is needed. Again, this is this enterprise environmental factor and organizational process. These are the two basically the process which you will get it most of the process, and that can also affect it. Okay, and how they can affect it? Any external factor, new changes like you wanted to do the new functionality you wanted to implement it. Okay, but as per the government rules and regulation, you can't do that changes. You have to follow that guideline. So that's why this can affect your this integrated change control. Your organization process asset, you have some document which tells that okay, this is a document that you need to follow it when you're submitting a change request or something. So that can also become your input of the perform integrated change control. What are the tools and techniques that you're going to apply on this? That's expert judgment, meetings, control chain tools. Now, when you somebody submitted a request, okay, you wanted to, they are expecting that this needs to be done it. So now you're not going to take it just blindly. You're going to discuss with the expert guys, okay, whether this thing can be done it, or any issues are there, any problem is there. You can discuss in the meeting, or maybe if you have a control chain tools are there which basically track a log of that. Okay, so you'll be using that one also. So for taking care of your change request. Output of a perform integrated change control, like you can approve a change request or you can reject it. If you reject it, means you have not accepted it. Simple. Means that is not a part of it. You don't have to care it. If it is approved change request, yes, then you need to change your project management plan, right? Because if you want to do it, then you have to change your project management plan update. Then you will be updating a project document update, and then you will be updating a change log. So you will be noting down, okay, what changes you have to do it, and this like a change one, like a version 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, 1.0. So this will become your change log. So this is what the integrated change control. Integrated change control is in exam. They will ask you. They will give you some scenarios, okay, and they will give you that okay, customer has requested this is a high priority changes and that needs to be taken. Is this a project manager can accept that changes? You have an option. Every time you should keep in mind, you cannot accept the changes blindly. You should go with the perform integrated change control. Any small, large, big, anything, any changes, whether it's small or big or or it does not affect. So it should go with the perform integrated change control. Okay, this process. So when you have a approved change request, so whether you will approve it or reject it. If you reject, that's okay. I'm not concerned. If it is approved, then what are the actions that needs to be taken care to accommodate those changes? Okay, so the configuration management, which is a part of this, somewhere, integrated change control, this perform integrated change control. Okay, so if you see this, this configuration management, okay, configuration management with the integrated change control. So it is basically opportunity to validate the impact of changes, impact mechanism for communication. So I'll give you an example, like we have something. Okay, so in this case, what are the things which configuration management activities needs to be note down. That is the identify configuration item, status accounting, verification, and audit. So hold on. So if you see this, this is already there in the PMP notes provided by the Just PMP, okay, on a chapter, chapter 4. So you'll get this. It's a part of from the PMP notes only. Okay, so even though it is there in the PMBOK guide, you will get a better description in the PMP notes. The configuration control is a focus on the specification of both deliverables and process, while the change control is focused on identifying, documenting, and approving and rejecting changes to the project document delivers on baseline. So what is the configuration changes and what is a normal change control? Okay, so there is a two things. One is a change control, another is a configuration control. Configuration control basically is like a, see, give you in terms of example. So like you'll have you're manufacturing a car, right? So you have a specification of engine, okay? When you are building a, when you are fitting a engine in your car. So for a particular car, these are the specifications. This is a specification of engine that can fit with this model. So, that is very much important. That specification become a configuration part, okay? Because when you, and that is been noted down here the project document, okay? These are the specifications of that. If something you want to change it, then you just don't accept as just a configuration. Then this will become a configuration changes, okay? That's become a configuration. So that needs to be taken care through the configuration control. So because it is a configuration control, change is a part of the integrated change control, but that will be considered as a configuration change. The reason is that if you change like a specification was something like 1.0 version, something will be there, or this is that much ampere it can take it. Now customer or somebody want to change it to the 80, but it can affect to the whole design, right? Because you're changing the configuration. So you can't, that changes is very much important. So this configuration changes will go through the different process, which is considered as a configuration control. So that's why what are the things which is a part of that, like some of the configuration activities included into the performance, because it's a part of integrated change control. Why it is integrated change control? Because it is a change, right? You wanted to do the changes in the project, something you want to do the changes. Then you to go to the integrated change control. But your changes is affecting, it is a configuration changes. Configuration in terms of, it is a specification of the thing that you want to change it. It is not something like okay, now previously project just remove this item or add new functionality. It is something previously your specification for this engine is supposed to be this much. Now you want to change it to the different voltage or some different electricity that in supply will be there. So you are changing the configuration. So it should go through these things like the configuration identification, configuration status accounting, configuration verification. So you will be documenting all those changes in the document, and that will be noted down. Okay, so you will be taking care of, okay, what is the configuration identification? How you can identify these changes. So you're going to specify one identification. Some identification will be there. That's the identification and selection of configuration items to provide the basis for which product configuration is defined and verified, and product and documents are labeled changes and managed. So all the document, and so it is just, you're going to identify. This is previously it is 1, now it's become 1.1. So when you are going to mention it, so 1.1, some changes related to that, engine or anything. So that will become your ID. So you'll going to mention in the document also, because it's become your identification. Okay. Configuration status accounting, you will be noting, you will be checking whether that item has been completed or not. So you'll basically checking the status of that activities through this. That's the configuration status accounting. This information is recorded and reported as when appropriate data about a configuration item should be provided. This information includes a list of approved configuration identification and status of proposed changes to the configuration and implementation status of proposed. So it is basically status part. How much activity, see, this information includes the listing of approved configuration identification, what are the identification they have approved it, and status of a proposed changes to the configuration, that whatever the changes you have proposed it to the configuration, whether it's done it or not done, so that's it. And then implementation of a status of approved changes, what is whether that you have implemented or not. So this will become a configuration status accounting. Then configuration verification and audit. So configuration verification and configuration audit ensure that composition of project configuration item is correct or corresponding changes are registered. So it's basically you're going to verify it and audit whether that particular changes have been done it or not done it. So see, and so it is basically audit ensure that composition of a project configuration item is correct. So in this case, whatever have configuration you have requested, and you are going to validate it with the whole stuff, and okay, so you'll see that composition of project configuration item is correct or not, and that corresponding changes are registered, access, approved, tracked. So you're going to do all those things as part of the audit. So when you're talking about the configuration control, if you're going to do any changes to the related to the configuration of a product, so it should go through these process. That's the configuration identification, which will identify what changes you want to do it. Status accounting, we're going to tell you status of that changes. Verification audit, we're going to tell you, the audit in terms of like whether that has been completed correctly or not in terms of all the stuff. Okay, so we're going to verify it. So this is basically the configuration control. So let's come to the topic here, which has covered it. Okay, so identify configuration status of accounting, verification audit. So the last process of this integration project management is a close project and phase. Very simple. In this case, like you'll be closing your activities, whatever you basically started. So it's the last activities of the project. So when you're closing any project activities, you'll make sure that you should have a lesson learned document. You should have those documents needs to be completed before you say that project is completed. So it's very important. So that's why if you see this, you'll have an output. That's a final output, service or result after project is complete. But you'll have an organization process asset upgrade. So you'll be having a document that will be basically you're going to document it. Your earlier I've shown you that in one of the previous diagram. Basically, you'll have what is the lesson learned and what will be the basically any document which is you can use it in future, so you can store as a part of the repository. So that will become your organization process asset update. So what are the input will be there for this close project? Yes, you need a project management plan because that is where you're going to compare it, and then you'll have accepted deliverables. Accepted deliverable which is going to come from monitor and control. Okay, means that's monitor and control will say, okay, now they are accepted it. Now that will become your accepted deliverable, and then organization process asset. So organization process asset will going to help you, to accept your deliverable. So these are become your input, and what are the tools and techniques that you will going to apply as part of this close project or phase? Expert judgment, analytical techniques, meeting. So these things that you will going to apply to validate your accepted deliverables, to see that your project activity has been completed, whatever you have decided in the project management plan, whatever you mentioned, whether that has been completed or not. So that will be going to do to the expert judgment. You will going to use some analytical technique and some meetings. Okay. So at the end you will have a final product, service or result and organization process asset update. So this is something you will become an output. So now if you see this quick overview in terms of what we have just covered it. So the first thing is the management. So the develop project charter, very simple. To create a document that formally authorizes a project. So this is the first document which authorizes a project. Then we'll basically discuss about what are the inputs will be part of the project charter. Let's say SOW, business need, and these things will be there. Project management plan is basically, it's basically to define, prepare, and coordinate all the subsidiary plan and integrate them into the comprehensive project management plan. And this give you the guidelines for whole project execution. So this is very important. Deming cycle is a PDCA, that's a plan, do, check, and act. So which is being used for continuous improvement of process and product. Direct and manage project work. So this is basically to lead and perform the work defined in the project management plan. So what you have defined in the project plan, so you'll be going to follow, or you're going to execute according to that. Then we have already covered this logical sequence of the project. So monitor, control, to track, review, and report the progress. Perform integration. Any changes, it should go to this perform, integrate, change control. Then you will have a configuration manager as a part of the integrate change control. Then at the end you'll have a final closed project. So here be you closing your project activities. Okay. So which I have already explained you what is the difference between work performance data, work performance information. So work performance data is a raw measurement data. It's like a deliverable raw measurement data. And when this information gets analyzed, it becomes work performance information. And the work performance information is a compilation of work performance information for consumption of purpose. So it's basically, if you see this diagram, you'll see this. This is your deliverable program. When it passes through this control process, you'll have this information. And when it goes to the monitor and control project, you will have a work performance report. Okay. That's great. Thanks. Thank you very much.